Welcome back. It was after the break. So we are starting with the prospecting. Before break, we spoke about the product or service that you're selling, its benefit, its advantages, and its attributes or features. Now we are working on the prospecting alone. As I said, at the end of the session, you can link all of that together as a chain, and you see there is no black and white, but each segment we focus on one so we understand each part. What is prospecting? Prospecting is identifying people, demographic, and individuals that either enjoy or need or want your product or service. That is and why it is scientific, because usually when you talk with the small business owners, especially amateur ones, or people who are in the sale, they take the sales job just for the sake of sales. When you say, what you're selling, I sell this. Who buys it? Everybody. Everybody buys everything. If everybody buys everything, then why do we need salespeople? There is a need for salespeople. And there is one of the reasons is to find who wants what you're selling. What are the brutal truth is, without prospect, a sales rep is unemployed. And why we talk about prospect and salesperson is being unemployed is a lot of salespeople, especially those who are in the getting a salary as a base. They go to the office, they sit there, they go through the spreadsheet, they go through the website. Oh, this guy maybe wanted, this guy maybe wanted, maybe this. Doesn't work. You have to know exactly what you are doing. These things that you know, you don't have to explain it to you. Everywhere you can find the prospects through the directory, but the question is how you can save it. And the prospect, as the picture in the beginning shows, prospects refers to the time of the gold, people who used to go to California or Mexico to gold, and they go in the river, they run the stones, they put a calendar in their hand, calendar shape, looking around to find. Prospecting is that. If you are selling to business, let's say, all three of you, in this case, you are selling businesses, there are 1.4 million businesses in Canada. But how many of them are specifically targeted for your business? How many of them you can reach, how many of them you can deliver? That is the prospecting. It starts from your family, depending what you're selling. Let's say if you're selling video, do you have any family member who has a business? Have you contacted him or her? No. Why?
Don't know.
Because if you did, people have again comes back to the emotion that we discussed earlier in last session. One of the things about a stigma that I described earlier, if you have that stigma in your mind that I am a salesman, sales is a dirty word. If I contact my brother or sister to sell, what he or she thinks about me? He thinks I am going to take advantage of him to get his money. Then it comes back to the product knowledge, which we discussed. If you don't believe to your product, why in the first place are you selling that product? That is why the turnaround of the salespeople in companies is that high. People are getting hired, they want to the transitional job, they just get the job as a sales, they don't like it, they don't want the stigma attached to it, they don't believe in it, and they don't go out and they fail. It's very simple. I personally, as I showed you earlier on the one slide, kids are the best salespeople. It is instinctively we are salespeople. We don't want to just accept the stigma attached to it. then your friends, and then you go all the way to the prospect. And if we have, in fact, another category is suspect. Like a investigator, crime investigator. If you see a scene of the crime, everybody is suspect. Everybody. But not everybody is a prospect. You have to see with them. Now, where to find potential customers? First of all, you have to know your demography. If you are selling something, let's say high-end, to a specific group of the business people, you have to know where the people are. If you are selling a shampoo, and that shampoo is good for the young individual like Justin Trudeau's hair, then you are looking for where to find these people.
Specifically Justin Trudeau's hair.
So you have to find out, if you want to have that kind of the connotation, then you have to find people who relate themselves to Justin Trudeau.
Or at least to his hair.
Or to his hair, of course. Now, those individuals could be students, younger students, or if you are selling a comfortable chair or recliner. If you are going to the student dormitory, it's the wrong place. You have to go to the senior house. So you have to know specifically who you are going to sell your product. Oh, what is that? A victory logo. I'm going to emphasize on this issue a little bit. Prospecting, first of all, is an attitude. You have to have it. You have to make it part of your habit. For instance, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, I had a show here and we didn't have guests, and I saw a guy outside. I immediately said, do you want to be our guest? After speaking to him a minute or half a minute. I didn't do that by planning. I'm always looking for what is there available there. That is the form of prospecting. If, for instance, for my other show here, for the political show, how I do the prospecting, I get the list of all of the politicians, find all of their emails, draft the letter, the invitation, and send to everybody. Now, if they respond, I respond accordingly. If they don't respond, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, a month later, I send another invitation. I don't sit there and think what Kathleen Wynne would think of me. Because my prospecting is my habit. If she thinks bad of my invitation, she should have responded in the first place. She should have sent an email, don't invite me. If she hasn't, I keep sending invitation. Sales is like that. You have a series of the names of the demography of the people or businesses you reach, you keep sending invitation. If that invitation doesn't work, change a little bit, add a little bit of the benefit, add a little advantages, and send it again. Don't think, oh, the guy doesn't like me to send multiple. If they don't like it, they will let you know. If they don't, then you have the right to send. Can you make a prospect come to you? Anyone? How?
Yes. But I mean,
How?
I guess you can't make you can't, because you can send out a hook, because you can put
Okay.
something out there that is a call in.
And that called advertising. That's called advertising. Yes, but you have to consider your time and money. Do you want to spend $10,000 for the advertising, or spend 2 weeks of cold calling?
There we go.
It's your choice. If I have 100 grand sitting there and I don't want to improve my business, I spend it on the advertising, direct mail, editorial, info session, and all of that, and then people come to me. if I don't have the money, or if I'm not willing to spend that money, or I have plenty of time, do something with it, and save that money for something better, I focus on the networking, door knocking, word of mouth, and cold calling. That is prospecting. Cold call canvas. Walking and talking, dialing and smiling, you have heard that in the past. I had put the space between dialing and dash, but again, I'm an immigrant. To become a good prospector, what you have to do is those things. Just do it. Don't think it. And that is why it has to become habit. In order to not think about something, you have to make it habit, which we discussed earlier. And that takes about 3 to 6 weeks.
Can you repeat that list to me?
Just do it. Don't use excuses. Do it constantly, persistently. Don't give up. Have a long-term plan. And like a farming. Do you know farming? You put a seed. You keep watering it till it grow up and get your harvest. Now, you cannot put the seed and go home and next year come back and expect to have the result of your harvest. You have to nurture it. And that is why it is scientific, because if you start with a list of 1,000 people, and then you send 1,000, let's say, email, and 10 people responded, and those 10 people told you buzz off, then you have to get that 10 people out of that 1,000, so you have 990. Either you replace it or not is a different story. But now you are filtering it down. You're funneling it down to the point to get that small amount. One of the problems with the human nature in general is when they start with a long list or long goals. And I remember, I didn't say dream. I said long goals, a big goal. A big is they are not going to do it because they get disappointed. But if you have planned like a farmer, you know it takes 6 months to bring 1,000 name to 15 customer, then you don't get disappointed in the process.
Well, like before you said numbers are a factor, and you're talking about a list of 1,000 names.
I just use that as an example.
But let's say, but what about well-researched prospects? Like
What-
a smaller list where you put more time
that,
into.
that comes to your demography. If you know your demography, 2 things happens. Let's say your demography is the businesses in downtown core. And you get the list of businesses in downtown core, it came 1,000. Again, I'm using that number arbitrary. And then you have 2 choices. Either you start to call 1,000 right away, or send email or send a letter, or you sit behind your desk and start to become judgmental about each business, which one goes and which one doesn't. You are not in their business. You don't know that. Unless you contact them and get a response, you do not know their intention. You do not. Another factor you have to bring into the consideration is things change. Today, I don't need you.
Right.
Not necessarily I need a set of suit every day. I need suit for today. Tomorrow, I will be that bum on the street again. I don't need that to have suit on. So the point is, the process of the prospecting, if you try to be judgmental at the beginning, you're trying to decide who might or who might not use your service.
Right.
That contradicts the product knowledge we discussed. So if you start with your demography and you know your product, start contacting. Oh, I went back. Sorry. Okay. dial for dollars. These phrases are all around. It has been around for years and years and years. It's not that my phrases. When you, most businesses like your businesses, you deal with the phone or if one form of the communication. Those things has to be as part of your conversation. If they are missing, you're dialing wrong, you're wasting your time. And I go one by one to explain to you. Do you call, do you introduce yourself? I received a bunch of telephone calls. Mr. Yazdanfar? Yes. I call you to tell you that we have wonderful thing. Who the hell are you?
Yeah.
Just basic manners to introduce yourself.
And by introduction, you have to say your full name, where you're calling from, and the purpose of your call, which comes to the verification. After you did that, are you familiar with our company? Get the verification. Do you know who we are? Maybe they say most of the time they say no, but you have to say it. Cooperation. Hello, my name is Lalo. I'm calling from that channel studio, which is a video production studio for the small business companies in Toronto and vicinity. Are you familiar with that channel's studio? No, I am not. May I have a minute of you to explain what we do? You ask for cooperation. You don't jump to the present. Oh, we are doing wonderful job for the people. And the guy may be sitting on the commode on the toilet. You don't know that. Ask for verification. It's very simple. You know, it happens.
So you wouldn't ask him, are you sitting on the committee?
No, you don't. You verification for what you do, not verification for what they do. And then one quick question. Always create a curiosity. Yes? May I have a minute of your time? Even don't say I'm explaining. May I have a minute of your time? Yes? What is that about? By the way, are you grappling, let's say like that, are you grappling with the traffic in your business? Quick question. Don't say, do you have any challenges? Everybody has challenges. Specifically ask a question. Do you do any video production? Are you present on YouTube? Do you advertise? Write down a few questions, have it handy. If one doesn't work on you, use another one. Because my accent, my way of talking is different than yours. So I have to find something that is useful for me. Motivation, which brings us to the issue. Would you be interested? They say, no, I don't have it. Does it help you? Is it beneficial for you to have one? Motivate them. Again, these are very quick phrases. These are not urgency. We have a program for this month that we are focusing on the businesses. Let's say they are dealing with the pizza. With the pizza store for this reason, because whatever reason you have it. Doesn't matter. We prepare it in advance. So you give an urgency. And then pre-arrange an appointment for each day. By the way, you never sell on the phone. Never, ever sell on the phone, unless you are selling a product that is designed to sell on the phone. The stock market, magazine subscriptions. These are the telephone sales. You can never sell a studio program, or in your case, John, your program on the phone. It does not sell. The purpose of the phone call to make appointment. And what that means? No presentation at all.
Would you say urgency, like an example, motivation or a specific problem could be, let's just say, a problem with their millennials in the company, right? Everybody's got that problem. Are you having this problem, right? Motivation, is this a really pressing problem for you, right?
A stimulating motivation,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
necessarily motivation.
But let's just say, is it a pressing problem? But then to turn around, let's say, with a consulting service or something which is more high-end,
Yeah.
and then create that urgency through the fact that we have a special, I can't quite see how that would be applicable to, let's say, a high-end product like consulting.
If they have problem,
No,
they-
not that part, but the urgency
No,
saying, that, oh, we got a special on this.
no, that
particular issue.
I just use that as an
No,
example.
but what would be a way of creating urgency in that situation?
Oh, you can put urgency on on their lap. You don't have to put urgency on your lap
And so
alone.
ask them, is this an urgent
Oh, no.
problem?
No, but as soon you have to listen, which we are going to talk about that listening. When you listen what they said, the urgency is depending on what they say.
So if
You don't create an urgency just out of the blue, what is that? Out of your list for everybody. You have to see what they say. If you are calling, let's say, pizza shop, the reason I use that, because you are focusing on the pizza shops in that month, let's say. If you have a list of 20 people that they are owners of the pizza shops and you call them, then you can create that urgency by telling them, we have a product, we have a service, we have a package for the design only for a pizza shop, is valid for the next week or so. Because your demography is small. However, when you are dealing with, let's say, if I am calling Kathleen Wynne, the Premier of Ontario, I have to see what her urgency is.
So let's say an example of even a generalized product, such as, let's say, dealing with the millennials, I could say, in fact, this month I'm focusing on millennials in this industry.
In this industry, you are, and you don't say I again.
But the focus is
Our company,
Our focus
third
is,
party,
yes.
our company allocated
Yeah.
this month
to do this.
for this particular reason.
So that it's inferred, it's implied urgency.
Yes,
not direct. Yeah.
that means next month you won't have that, and last month we didn't have that. And I'm going to play a sample from a movie, but although it's a movie, but it depicted the whole scenario very interestingly, and you will see that. And then goodbye,
Yeah.
unless they hang up on you. If they want to hang up on you, they hang up on the first three before your cooperation, by the way. If they continue, that means they are interested. They are telling you, tell me more. It's like a fishing, the hook. First you have the hook, and then time management. The reason I put the time management there, because as I said, you have to do all of your preparations in advance before you even pick up the phone. Okay? IDA. Again, it is one of the classic example of the either advertising or conversation or communication. Attention, interest, desire, and action. If you do not apply any one of those, your advertising, your promotion, your calls, your communication fails. For instance, if I see Mary and I want to talk to Mary for the first time, I have to have her attention. How I do it, it depends to people do whatever they want to do. Let's say it is in the sales. I am selling something to that channel studio, and she is the person that is in charge of that particular purchasing, let's say.
Yeah.
I already I said, again, my name is Bahman. I am calling from Canaglobe, and the reason I came, may I have your name? When I have a minute of your time, are you grappling with this kind of the issue? Do you want more customers? Let's say, oh yes, and so I already took her attention, because who doesn't need more customers? Interest. What if I told you that we have a system that without costing you anything, it brings you a customer at a fraction of with a small commission? Would you be interested? Did I do any presentation yet? Interest. Desire. Maybe she asks, oh, well, but how much you charge? That would be very interesting. I will be more than happy to discuss that face to face. When would be the good time for you for me to drop in your office for 15 to 20 minutes? Well, I am very busy. I don't have any time. You don't have any time to have more customers? That is what I'm hearing. How about Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon is better for you? By the way, it doesn't mean every call you get a result. But if you don't practice this, you absolutely, that I guarantee you don't get any result. If you do this, you get some result. Then you can work on it, how to polish it, getting better. And with the practice, repetition, you get better and better. So it is all depends how fast and how well you listen.
So where is the listening in this exactly?
We get to that. Right now, we are in the prospecting. I'm just using that examples that we haven't get to the approach. We get approach in contact. I'm just using that to give you a little bit of headway for the next section. But still, we are in the prospecting. We are trying to find out who we are going to contact.
So this is your pitch that you've designed for the prospects.
It is one of them. You can use
What I mean is, but this is the formula you're using to design for all your pitches.
Yes, because right. if you have 1,000 people, you don't know them.
So that this is essentially your template now for those people who you've decided are the ones.
Yes, right? then out of that 1,000, you said 50 said no, 50 don't answer, 50, then you go down and then you find who is the real prospect.
Right, makes sense.
By the way, approach is when you already done your prospecting and now you are going to the next step of the qualifying and presentation. Calling to find prospect is not really approach. Although, as I said, there is no black and white border between this segment of the sales. But if I am calling 1,000 people to make appointment, that is not considered approach at this stage. That is consider who will be my prospect.
Okay.
Unless, as I said, unless I am selling something on the phone. That is different story.
So approach is already reserved for the meeting?
We either meeting or more to get you are in the process of the qualifying them or provide the presentation to them. But at this stage, we are just using phone for the prospecting. Now, as I said at earlier at this presentation, sometimes the sales cycle takes 2 minutes. Sometimes it takes 2 months. So this prospecting is for longer sales cycle.
So the qualification part of this, right, would be then...
I am not qualifying anything here.
No, in terms of the pre-qualifying, is that once, through the course of this conversation
yes.
that you have, once you've got to the point where, you've determined that they have this problem, they have a sense of urgency.
I haven't decided that problem. I just ask if you have that problem.
But right. But
yeah.
once this comes out,
yeah.
and once they've said yes to the appointment,
yes.
that then is...
Then we go to the next step.
So that is the actual pre-qualification at that point?
You can say, but it is, I call it still the selection of the prospect. Now, I made that cold call to warm call.
So now it's cold to warm. So now, after that,
we go to the we discussed that.
Understood.
Right now, we are trying to just see how the methodology that we can get prospects. As I said, you can advertise, and you don't have to do any of this.
Yeah.
Spend $200,000 worth of advertising, sit there, and hope that people come to you and say, hey, I want your product. Good luck. I have boxes of the flyers that I distribute just recently in the last 3-4 months for different services, and I didn't get any answer. And I spent at least $2,000-3,000 minimum. And it was specifically designed to specific businesses in one area. So that I am just showing you the methodology that you have to go through to get that 10, 15, 20 qualified people that you can sell your product or provide your service to them. Where were we? I'm just trying to be on his screen. Know your practice script. You write down your script. I suggest strongly have a script, and not a script in the sense of being a robot. But if you have a script, then you know how to alter it, how you adjust it, how you evaluate yourself against yourself again, against your own practice. And then you come up with something that after repetition, it comes to your mind. But having a script is very important to know what to follow those principles till you get to the. That is mostly for outside and inside, and I'm going to show you why. If a lot of small business owners have a tendency to get up from the bed, go to their desk, pick up the phone after their breakfast, and start to make the phone calls. That is not good. Because you were talking about energy earlier, Lalo. The moment I get up, pick up the phone and talk, the vibration or my voice transmits my level of the excitement and enthusiasm to the other person. If I am sitting with my pajama and coffee and chocolate sitting there in front of the cup and my legs are on the table and say, hey, is this Mr. Jones? Don't waste your time. A smile. I used to have a practice of in the early age, put a mirror, because I don't smile that much myself. So the moment I pick up the phone, because that creates, again, the vibration changes. And believe me, it works. Adjust your posture, sitting. Again, as I said, like a rope. If I'm sitting on recliner, you are not in the working position. You are talking to your mom. Unless you are selling to your mom, that doesn't work. Make a phone call to a friend in the beginning. If in the beginning of the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, you don't feel like, call Lalo, call John. Hi, John, how are you doing? Everything is fine. Let the work call start the conversation. Have some sort of, just a quick call, minute or two. How are you doing? Then that triggers you for the phone call. During the phone call, again, we discussed that. Introduce yourself, your company name, give your reasons and for calling. Avoid jargons. I have friends that they go in the meetings with the friends. We are sitting there talking about, let's say, Christmas. And then they start a conversation. Let's say you are a camera enthusiast, you are a politician, or you are a machinist. And then they start to use the terminology about the field that they feel very excited. And the rest of the people at the dining table wondering what he is talking about. On the phone, this is the first time you call a person. Don't try to use the terminology that they don't understand. Simple words, simple language. That is why foreigners are better salespeople than the domestic people, because they don't know much of the vocabulary. Yours truly was one of them. Listen to answer. Don't just talk. Wait, keep the pause. Let them talk. Listen what they say and how they say it. Paraphrase the answer. That is important to know. I'm calling you, selling again, let's say, a product from that channel. Mm-hmm. I'm selling a video production that is designed for the supermarkets in the area. And you are the owner of the supermarket, and I ask you all of those things, and then you say, I'm not interested. Okay? What would you do? Our producer. No, it's okay. What would you do? I'm not interested.
I would if I was going to use your, what you've just
Don't
given me.
use mine, what you do.
I would say
This is guideline. I don't ask you to use all of none of this. I just ask you to interpret the way you.
I
I'm
would
not in.
say you're not interested. I can understand that you wouldn't be interested. Perhaps that's because you don't know
Okay.
about this aspect.
Again, you make it personal.
Or
You assume that I don't know. No, repeat that. Let me understood. You are not interested in our service, or you are not interested in to have a more customer. I paraphrase the answer. I did not come to the conclusion. I asked for more verification. I'm sorry, sorry I bother you, but just to verify, you are. What I'm hearing is you are not interested. But are you not interested in our service, or are you interested in having more client, or whatever is the conversation? Or is it you are not interested because it's not a good time? Because the guy maybe has a fight with his wife behind the counter, and I'm not interested because I have more fire to put out. You don't know that. So everything has to be paraphrased and get approval. Do you mind if if you are not interested, that's fine. Would you mind if I send you some information? Arrange a time. Would you like me to call in a better time? There is options. But if you don't listen, and again, focusing on what is your head is going, when you do the prospecting with the phone or even person, you have to get the idea of the presentation and product out of your head. Your objective is to get the person to sit with you and listen to you. That is the objective. You are not there to sell on the phone. In the neighborhood on Tuesday, I am on the neighborhood on Tuesday. That is very classical one, 10 a.m. Do you mind if I just drop by to say hi? I used to use, do you mind if I just drop by and give a face to the name? And then, well, you can do whatever you want. Oh, okay, that is the day. Thank you very much. Put it there. I never been there. I never be there. But if I'm there, I have a note. Maybe I go there 2 weeks later. The guy doesn't remember. And even if remember, and he said, oh, you told me 2 weeks ago. Why you waited 2 weeks? Well, I thought maybe you are not in the good mood to talk to me at that time. Was I wrong? And your statement with the question. You look at the parliament, always there is questioning period, no answering period. Every question ends with another question. There is a good practice in sales at the prospecting level.